One of the most important facets of any business is customer service. In business, you are not only selling a product or a service, but an experience. Providing exceptional customer service and developing real relationships with your clients means increased sales, retain customers, new customers via word of mouth, and a positive reputation. You're listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Benjamin Del Grosso gives you the ins and outs of one of the most underlooked aspects in business today. Improve your customer service and watch your business skyrocket. 2, 1. Now, here's your host, Benjamin Del Grosso.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest. He's local. He's in Greater Vancouver, and he actually won Canada. He has Canada's Top Fitness of the Year 2022, voted by Impact Magazine. Mm-hmm. So, Ian, welcome to the show.
Cheers, Benjamin. Thanks for having me.
So, I guess what is it that you exactly do?
So I am as you mentioned, I'm an award-winning personal trainer recently for Impact Magazine. I am a health and fitness entrepreneur and a mental health advocate. As you mentioned, we're neighbors. So I'm just sitting in my apartment right now in sunny Vancouver. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, fitness is a very big thing. I know you said you specialize. I don't know if you can talk about the stuff that you are specializing in or not. We were kind of talking off camera about that, or.
Yeah, so I predominantly I work with executives, but also I run I'm part owner of a mobile gym, and we work exclusively for different movie contracts for Netflix, HBO, and for high performance athletes and sports teams. So, in the past, we've done shows like X-Men, 50 Shades of Grey. We've had contracts with actors like Christina Ricci, Sandra Bullock recently when they come to town. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I
feel pretty fortunate. My business partner, Ramona, she's been a celebrity trainer for a long time. And I think when you try to work in that sort of realm, you need to have somebody who's been in industry to kind of either get you in or to kind of show you the ropes, because everyone wants to be a celebrity trainer. Everyone wants to train actors and celebrities because it's super cool. But
yeah,
there's a huge trust factor there, and kind of like even as the kind of the theme of your podcast, it's all about customer experience. How you interact with these people, how you communicate with these people has to be very intentional and very thought. You have to think about it before you can't just go willy-nilly with these things.
Oh yeah, no, it's very important too, right? Because everybody communicates differently, and you could say to one person, you're fat, you need to lose weight, and they'd be like, you're right, I am, and so let's get on the weights or whatever, right? But you say that to somebody else and they're like, you're calling me fat, you're such a jerk, right? So you have all these different people that you have to communicate differently. Maybe that was a little brash, that example.
Yeah.
But
there's different ways. There's different personalities that people are attracted to, and maybe not as brash as that, but sometimes people want tough love. And I think it's like, it's your job as a trainer, whether you're dealing with celebrities or anyone, just another human, it's your job as a trainer to kind of figure out what they need to motivate them and the type of person you're going to be in that space to get the most from them.
Nice. So I'm guessing you're a person who works out multiple times a day on top of training people.
Well, so I used to be a high performance athlete, like middle distance and long distance running back in Ireland. And then I used to play Gaelic football. Gaelic football is like Aussie rules, but just with a round ball. It's the greatest sport in the world. Obviously I'm biased, but I used to play that when I lived back home in Ireland. And so now I just focus on in the gym, weight training. But honestly, Benjamin, like it's, I'm 35 years old now. It's weird. Like I'm by no stretch am I old, but you definitely feel those years of training. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to warm up and kind of get the body moving. So yeah.
Yeah, like I know we were talking off camera, and I told you I recently finished 75 hard, and
Hmm.
which was a program I did, and I could tell you my hands when I was doing installations, my hands would hurt,
Oh,
right? And now I haven't had that at all since I finished 75 hard, and I
that's
think
great.
that's because I drink a gallon of water a day,
Hmm.
right? So because I'm taking care of myself, I've lost weight. I'm
Hmm.
making sure to stay, to stay hydrated and
Hmm.
drink lots of water every single day. While I had like a week, like about 2 weeks ago there, where I didn't. I only drank, like half a liter a couple days and a liter, and
Yeah,
I wasn't disciplined that week. And then my hands hurt on the weekend when I was working on vehicles. And I'm like, see, it's all about just being disciplined and taking care of yourself. And that was all part of me just drinking that water and staying hydrated and take.
absolutely. And it's like a lot of those pains and niggles that you feel are usually associated with inflammation. And, like hydration is a great way to help the body basically flush out toxins to help with that inflammation. So it's, and also like it's everything is compounded, whether it be a good habit or a bad habit. Over the years, your 20s, 30s, 40s, if you're not looking after yourself consistently, that's going to have a roll-on effect. If you're training and you're looking after yourself and you're eating well, and you don't have to be a saint, there's no saints among us, but like, but you still have to, like, if there's more good than bad, if more conscious choices, then you're going to reap the rewards of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, a couple questions here.
Hmm.
What was your most memorable experience as a customer?
Yeah, I think so. This is actually a recent memory. So this is like, by recent I mean it's like last week. So
Oh,
there is
nice.
a so around plotted around Vancouver. I'm not sure if you're aware. There's different community gardens that are around the place. So you have to put your name forward, and you get like a 64 square foot plot of land in the city where you can grow your own vegetables. So now I put my name in 3 years ago. I actually got the call a couple of months ago. So I was like, awesome. So now I'll be the grower of many vegetables, based here in the center of the city. But last year, Benjamin, I made a phone call to a garden center called Hunter's Gardener, and I wanted to get a lemon tree. And I know this is a bit random, but basically last week I got a phone call from Hunter's Garden saying that they have my lemon tree is ready. Now it's been a year, but it was a very particular type of lemon tree. They had all the details down. And what the customer experience that I got from that was that when I dissected it afterwards, they followed up, they listened so intently to like the conversation, what I was originally looking for, and they went above and beyond, actually making sure that, although I didn't even get the tree in the end, they went above and beyond to make sure that the service that they were providing was the best they could possibly do. And although I didn't get the lemon tree, I'm 100% going to do all my gardening and my get my seeds and get my plants from that center, because they listened to what I wanted. And as I said, it's a year since I called them, and I was on this waiting list, but they still followed up with me. And I think there's that's sort of like customer care, and one-on-one human interaction is not always something that we get nowadays. So I think when it actually occurs, it surprises me, and I'm literally talking about it right now. So it's like it was that positive of an experience.
Well, yeah, the follow up. A lot of people really underestimate the power of the follow up.
Hmm.
I mean, how many times have you gone into a place and they go, "Oh yeah, yeah, we don't have it right now. Write down your name and number. We'll give you a call when we have it."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What? Are you sure you're going to call me?" "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then, months go by, and I remember there's this place we go to. We really wanted this kid's toy,
Hmm.
and we went in and they said just write down on this piece of paper, and it wasn't even a yellow sticky note. It was like a
It was
piece
like
of
a
paper. They
scrap,
they
like, yeah,
like, and I was thinking, are they just going to put that in the paper shredder as soon as I leave? Are they just trying to humor me? Never
literally.
got a call back. I
No.
mean, that was a year and a half ago now, so I'm pretty sure they're
Hmm.
not calling about a chase toy um
Yeah,
that
but
we
it's
wanted for the
follow up.
kids.
Like as you said, like it's like even like closing the circle on certain things, like even introducing somebody to a friend or making an introduction, like everything should be followed up And I think too often it's not, and there's so many loose ends that are just like left out there. And when I think of loose ends like that, you're missing an opportunity, not just from like a customer experience standpoint, but just an actual relationship building standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities to build connection with people, and to kind of be true to your word. Like if you're just kind of like throwing down something on a piece of paper and you're like, are these guys actually going to do it? And you kind of know in your heart that it's not, then, you know, it just shows like what expectations are like right now too.
Oh yeah, I mean the follow up is huge, and I mean I do a 1 week follow up with all my clients, and I tell them it's only going to come via email. I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to text you. I'm not going to bug you. It's just more of it's a checkup, right?
Absolutely.
After we've done the job, if you want to reply, you can. You can contact me before then if you like.
Hmm.
It's just something to make sure because sometimes people forget. Like maybe they're
Hmm.
having a problem, they forgot something, right? And then there's also support links on there for a lot of the information that answers most of their questions. And sometimes you'll see these people, they click on it, and my website will kind of track where people go, and they're like, oh, okay, look, they're watching the video, so they're
Yeah.
learning. They're not calling me, and that's fine. They're independent, but
Hmm.
that's why you put the information out there, right? It's because you want to try
Absolutely.
and help them. And when
Hmm.
people actually also contact me for a quote, I also do like a 24 or 48-hour follow up after I've emailed them the quote because sometimes it goes to their junk
Hmm.
or maybe they didn't even get it. Who knows? Maybe they messed up their email address. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe I messed up. So I always want to do a follow up, see what's going on. And a
Hmm.
lot of times people are like, "Thanks for following up. I went with somebody else," or "Thanks for following up. I want to actually book in," or "We're waiting for a car. We're not even getting it for the next 2 months," which is a very
Yeah.
popular thing right now. People are waiting for
Yo,
cars for a
even
couple
even
months, right?
longer. She's even like a year. I've heard some horror stories, with like, basically shipment issues and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's different, right? But yeah, I agree with you. Power of the follow up is a very big thing, and I always tell everybody it's important. And like my buddy's business, I keep telling him you got to do a follow up with everybody after 1 week. He's like, well, they got their car washed. I'm like, yeah, but let's say you missed something that they wanted cleaned,
Mhm.
and then they look at it and find out that,
Yeah,
oh look, hey, he didn't clean it properly. I won't just bring it back to him next time. That 1 week follow
exactly.
up, they could say, hey, we noticed you didn't even clean this properly, and we're a little bit upset. And he'd go,
Mhm.
oh, bring it right in. We'll get it fixed for you. I'm very sorry about that. Now you've opened that door for the communication, right?
Exactly.
Saying that you
And it's
care.
it's also like, why do we do anything with like anyone? Why do we consistently go back to maybe the same hairdresser or maybe same personal trainer? Because we like the person. And I like, and when I think of customer experience in general, or just any sort of, again, relationship or interaction, it's these these relationships and the way you communicate with people is always going to like come down to, you know basically like how you want to interact with them and how you want to be interacted with. And there's a very clear like funnel that's there when you interact with people on the positive. And like your buddy with, is he cleaning cars?
Yeah, that's one of the things they do is clean cars. Yeah. So,
Like it's like outside of just like making sure, outside like a good customer experience, it's actually like one of the best ways you can like increase your sales and keep consistent sales. Because when you reach out to people, you build that relationship, they get to like you get to actually have an interpersonal relationship. And it's like you don't need to put so much effort into your sales because you're just being a good human and doing like what should be done, and that will reap the rewards in your actual business as well.
oh yeah, 100%. It's totally what happens, right? But you also have to genuinely care because there's people who will just plug it into their CRM, right?
Yeah.
And then the CRM sends the email out, and it's not personalized, right?
No.
And a little trick, something I do. I do a personalized video. Every single one of my clients gets a personalized video. Thank you, right?
That's
So I
awesome.
so
Great.
I actually make it. There's a certain software I use. It gets attached to the email, and like I got a client on Saturday. This was hilarious. He wasn't happy with the dash cam he got, and I don't get that too often, but he wasn't, and I changed it out for him. I said, "Yeah, we'll just change it to another one. You've had it for a week. I'm not
Hmm.
worried about it." Oh, okay, really? It's that easy? Yeah. I said, you replied to the thank you email because he got the thank you email, and that's how he ended up calling me saying he wasn't happy with it, right?
Yeah,
And I go, did you watch the video? He goes, no, I don't watch videos. I go, oh, it's only 30 seconds long, right?
yeah.
And then he watched it while I was there, and he was laughing. He thought it was hilarious because I told him that, his name is I'll just say his name. His name is Will, but people
Mhm.
call him Bill. So he always
Yeah.
just tells people call me Bill. So I told him
Mhm.
that early on, for some reason, when I call in like into a phone, they'll say in your name, and I go Ben. Oh, hi Dan. And I'm like, I don't even know how they get that. So
Yeah,
because of that, he would call me Dan the whole time that I was working on the vehicle. Hey Dan, just as a joke, right?
yeah, of
So when
course.
I called him, when I did this little 30-second video, thank you, I said, this is Dan, I mean Ben, and hey Bill or Will or whatever your name is, I don't know, right? I just want to say thanks for your business, right? It's like a little video, and man, he's like
Yeah.
laughing. He's like, this is awesome. He's like, man, you are a true professional. I'm like, well, dude, like I told you, like if you're not happy with it, I'll just take care of you, right? Like that's what my business is all about, is taking care of the clients.
But the most important, what I'm hearing there, Ben or Dan, is the fact that you listen. You listen to them. Like it's for me, honestly, it is like the biggest missing thing. Like when it comes to relationships and the customer experience, is the inability for people to actually listen.
Oh yeah.
When people speak, they're already and you can feel it when you speak to someone. They're already answering your question before you've even finished your sentence, because they're narrating these things in your head. And the lack of being present without someone, and I think it's, I've been fortunate just with like the parents I've had and how they communicate. And I'm a volunteer at the suicide hotline, so like, communication, like listening and empathy, and these things are like super important in my volunteer work there. So I feel fortunate I've got these different skill sets from these different experiences. But like when I listen to my clients, it's why I feel like my personal training business has been so successful, is that when I listen, it's never about me. I'm always listening to those minor things, those jokes, those little, interactions about their day. And then I'll say it back to them at some other stage at a different training session through an email, similar to what you did there with Dan. And like he loved it. Although he didn't watch the video originally, he
Oh
sees
yeah.
it because like now that's a little bond. It's like kind of your little thing that you have. And it's the only reason why it worked is because you actually listened and you decided to use that information based on the experience you had together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just you're trying to make it personalized. And I mean, like we were talking off camera, I'm part of a networking group, and one of the guys who runs that networking group, he has these calls with us every month, and
Mhm.
they do personalized thank you notes to every single customer. And he goes, so if you tell me you don't have time, our business writes over 10,000 thank you cards every single day. So you want to tell me you're too big, you can't do it?
Yeah,
No, I don't buy it. It
yeah.
can be done. Everybody can do it, and it has to be done. You have to make it non-negotiable. You have to actually care. You actually
Hmm.
have to take care of these people. He goes,
Hmm.
because that's what people want. They want a customer experience. You want them to keep coming back. And it's all about, if you take care of your clients, they'll turn into your disciples, as they like to say, right? Well, they'll start pitching your products. So you have to go see Ben's the dash cam guy.
Yeah,
And if you don't want a dash cam but you want something else on a car, you can ask him, because he does know a lot of people, and he might recommend someone to you too, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
so now you turn into the guy, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And that's what you want. You want to have where people know, like, and trust you,
Hmm.
and you can build your business off of that.
Yeah, it's a good point as well, because I think, and I kind of touched on it before. I see a lot of trainers, people in the fitness industry, and there's a lot of courses that are being said, like get to a six-figure business and all these fitness, like kind of. But like at the end of the day, it's like, can you just make a good experience for one client? Get one person and one client, because that person will then be one of your disciples and your advocate, and they will promote you. And there's too much kind of wishy-washy, like trying to like do all these crazy tactics, where at the end of the day, bring it back to, like, again, super basic stuff. Like show up at the best way possible for that one client, and that person will recommend you. And that is your sales funnel. That is literally like
Yeah.
sales. Customer experience is sales. You know what I mean?
No, it is. It's funny because I say I'm not a good salesman, but really I am good at building rapport with clients and with communicating with them. And really
Mhm.
that is selling because you're selling yourself. Right?
Absolutely. Do you ever heard about Brian Chesky from Airbnb? He does this thing called 11-star experience.
No, I haven't heard of that.
So when he first started out, like obviously he used to go like door to door with some of these Airbnb hosts. He was like pretending, or not pretending, he was going to be the photographer to ensure that they got the best quality photographs. He went into their houses, took photographs, and he wants to like basically hear from the Airbnb hosts. Anyway, when he went through this exercise of giving an 11-star experience, and he was like, when you do the exercise of how do you think the craziest, like what's the most amazing experience possible that a guest could receive from an Airbnb host? And so say he goes, and I'll kind of like run through a little bit faster, but say a 5-star experience is you show up at the Airbnb and the host opens the door and it says, "Welcome, Benjamin." Okay, pretty basic, it's like whatever. Maybe a 7-star experience is you go into the Airbnb, they welcome you, and there's a bottle of wine in the fridge, and there's a nice little welcome note and some food. Great. And maybe a 10-star experience is you go in and basically they know that you like surfing. So basically there's like a surfboard there and they've bought you surf lessons and la di da. And then an 11-star experience, you're met at the door with like Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is like, "We're going to go to space together." So like outrageous, like crazy shit. But the whole point of the exercise is that in order to really focus on how good of an experience you can give to your customer, you have to go to the extremes and then start to bring it back a little bit. And I think sometimes we limit ourselves on like what we can do for our customers, and what we can do for them. And I think doing an exercise like that to think of what is the crazy shit we can do for our actual customers. And then some of it is not realistic, fine, but it's a fun thing to do, to actually experiment with, and then to be like, okay, how can I actually improve my day to day, or how can I can actually improve the experience of the people I interact with and my customers. So look it up. I like Brian Chesky, 11-star experience. This is I'm not friends with Brian Chesky, but
Oh
it's
no. Oh man.
uh it's
So
mhm.
so yeah, Zoom's awesome today. If there's one thing you could change in the entire world today, what would it be and why?
I think, well, not I think, I feel pretty strongly about this. I think obviously there's you can do so many things in the world, but I think um, something that I'm super passionate about is people volunteering their time to a cause that is basically that they're passionate about, but the actual intentional volunteering of one's time. So I don't think enough people volunteer, Benjamin. I've been a lifelong volunteer. Like as I mentioned, like I volunteer at the suicide shelter, and even though I do crazy hours, similar to you, like sometimes I do a 40, 60-hour week, but I still find time to volunteer. And it's because I feel so strongly about, being in a position where I can actually give my time to somebody else. And when I talk to like my peers, entrepreneurs, corporation, people in corporate, blah, 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 very few people actually volunteer. And so I think it's one thing that if everybody could just donate a little bit of their time, if they're in a position to do so, what that would do for honestly the world, I think would be profound, because it's not just the actual time that you're giving to something that you're passionate about. It is such a rewarding thing to actually do. So it's like, volunteering sometimes is one of the most selfish things, because the act of giving can be so rewarding that you are actually getting more from it than the actual person or the people that you're helping or the animals or the organization. Like I always try to preach that as much as I can, and I think, and so I like, I like that. I like these questions because I think if it makes people think about like, oh, I should be able to do, or I'm in a position that I can do more. If your only kind of reasoning or excuse is like you don't have time, for me personally, I don't really feel that's like a valid reason, you know.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and but I also appreciate that not everyone is in the position. to be able to actually volunteer, and they're actually going through their own like mental health journey, or they're going through their own experience, and that's super valid. But I think there is a lot of people out there, a lot of amazing talent, a lot of amazing individuals who have so much love and experience and skill set to give to people who are not in those positions. And I think it's a real waste not to be able to utilize it and be able to, for people to actually like really, do those things,
Awesome.
Yeah. So volunteer more.
Oh yeah, no, I had somebody else on one of the podcasts tell me they do something for their community, and I said, I have to find something that I want to do in the community. I haven't really put any effort into it, but I mean, I've also been here 3.5 years, so I'm slowly, starting to, get to know a lot more of the locals and starting to understand certain things. So, but I mean, the last 2 years, it was kind of hard because, I mean, even if you wanted to volunteer to do something, a lot of places wouldn't even let you. So I guess we'll see where I settle or where I find my feet.
Exactly. I think it's also like the biggest thing, because I tried to like tackle this problem. I started like this little mini company on the side. It was called Just 1 Hour, and it was helping people volunteer just 1 hour of their time to a nonprofit or organization that they're passionate about. I kind of closed the door on it because the business model is not really there, and it's like, in theory, it sounds quite cool, but it was pretty hard to actually execute. But what I did understand when I was going through that process of creating that organization was, a lot of times people don't even know what they're passionate about. So it's asking the questions of like, do you want to be more involved with the queer community? Do you want to be more involved with the mental health community or the homeless community? There's so many different areas. Is it animals? Is it climate change? And so asking those questions to yourself to kind of figure out like, oh shit, yeah, that actually sounds super cool. Actually, that like the climate is something that I'm very passionate about. Okay, then there's so many other areas. So I think asking those questions of yourself, then it will be very clear, or at least clearer, of the area you want to spend your time in when you actually want to do something like this.
Yeah, so it's like what I was talking about in the last podcast. What's your why?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah. Do you have any final comments or anything to close with? I mean, this was awesome. It was fire.
Yeah, no, this was great, Benjamin. No, I think just in general, I think if the two things, people could leave this podcast, kind of, two things that I would mention is, as I said, volunteering, but also improving our ability to listen to, people that we interact with, not just customers, it's not just about making money, but relationships is what will bring you success and the ability to also help other people. So listen more, come at it with more empathy and an open heart, volunteer more, and that's all I really got to say.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming on the show here, Ian. It was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Benjamin. That was great.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Ben, check out Benjamin Del Grosso on LinkedIn, at Safe Drive Solutions on Instagram, or www.safedrivesolutions.ca online. We'll see you next time.